Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Parallel, Paranormals. I know it's a lot of words to say, huh? Okay, so my question, of course, tonight is ghosts. And no, I'm not talking about Casper the friendly ghost, but ghosts. Have you ever seen one? Do you know someone who has seen one? In certain cultures, religions, tribes, they refer to the ghosts as spirits. So maybe you've seen spirit or spirits. Maybe you don't call them ghosts. Well, we're going to find out more about those tonight. We have an expert, world renowned, um, been on all of the TV stations, has 8 books written, just all about ghosts. Yeah. So we're going to be finding out more about them. But before I have to bring in the rest of the team. As a heartbeat of the South, that's with us, none other than Tim Harrington. Hey, Tim,
Hey,
got a
Mom, how's
spaceship.
everybody? Yeah,
Who's that
how's
flying up
everybody?
there for you?
It's those people.
Those people. All right, then. That's a good one. I like that. You know, we can't carry this fun show on without Kathy, C.C. Carlson.
Hey,
Kathy, hi.
Kathy.
Hey, you guys, I do love those backdrops. I'm going to have to get one.
Yeah, I like it. I was trying to see if it's like one I've ever seen on any movie, any show, or in person, and it is not because it seems like it's been shot off part of it in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Sure.
could just be it could be a unique design, but I like
Right.
it.
I like
All
it. It
right,
adds to the drama. Yes.
yeah. So as y'all can see, we have
Okay.
a special guest coming up, and his name is going to disappear off the screen when we bring him in. And we had Kathy and I, when he arrived in the studio while we were all in the green room
Mhm.
chatting about the pronunciation of his last name. So I'm going to
Mhm.
let Kathy surprise you with that. And I see she has a little unexpected call or something about it that came in. It's probably watching the show, want to ask her a question. But Kathy, who do
Yeah.
we have special tonight?
Well, we have Dale Kaczmarek, and he's here from Illinois.
All right, Dave. Hi
Hey,
there.
Dale.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Everybody, let's
All
bring.
right.
Good evening.
Welcome, welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. Hello, Dave, and welcome. Let's see, we've got a lot of comments going on in the comment column already. Let's go ahead and get them on the screen so we can greet our audience. And before we go to break and to start the show. All right, so they'll be up in just a minute. They were there, they disappeared. Okay, we got Doug in the studio. He says, "Hi, Emily. Great introductory and video. Thank you, Doug." And he says, "Hi, Tim."
Hey, what's
And
up, Doug?
he also says, "Hi, Kathy."
Hey,
And
hi,
we got it.
Douglas.
We got Evangelist Donnie Riggs in the house, the seer. Hi,
And Miss
Evangelist.
Greg.
She says, "Spooky night to you all." All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And y'all share the show because I know that, and y'all, I want y'all to stay and share y'all brief experience with spirits or ghosts that you may have had coming up through your lifetime. And we'll have Dale analyze all of that for you. All right. Dale, like, looks like it's a ghost flying over your shoulder right now in the background. I like that.
I'm over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like it. All right, so we're gonna take a break and give everybody a chance to share the show. Team, share the show. I'm gonna turn on the X, and formerly known as Twitter. All
Twitter.
right,
All right.
yeah, and then we'll get this show on the road. All right.
All right.
Okay,
Sounds
so
good.
y'all stay. We'll be right back. Don't go.
Ooh, we're firing up the Chewy app. Can't say no to these prices. Clumping litter? Resounding yes. Salmon pate? Love that for me. Essentials? Check. Ooh, we have enough to splurge on catnip toys. We did it. I feel so accomplished. Pet me, please. Okay, that's enough. Now back to me time. Love you.
Great prices, happy pets. Chewy.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I feel free to bare my skin thanks to Sky Rizzy. I'm celebrating my clear skin my way. With Sky Rizzy, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. In another study, most people had 90% clearer skin even at 5 years. And Sky Rizzy is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Thanks to clearer skin with Sky Rizzy, this is my moment. There's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Now's the time. Ask your doctor about Sky Rizzy, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
To 50 years with my best friend and my soulmate.
The Quicker Picker-Upper. When you gotta get it done, one sheet is all you need. And Bounty is 50% more absorbent, so you can use less and get the job done with one.
You've got a bit of your face on your face.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
Here's a thread. The power to connect is the power to change. Connect 2 dots and change the whole plot. Connect one day and change a long week. Connect to one thought and change what you speak. Connecting these hearts, we change their flow, the plan, the path, the course, route, and road. Connect with uncertainty and change what we know. The plots that unfold,
The seeds that we grow.
connect and change what you want. What do you want?
What do you want?
¿Qué es lo que quieres? Find it and lose it again. Don't like the hue? Change the color. Scared of the storms? Change their thunder. Don't share the dream? Dream another. Connect and change. The phase, a place, the dance, the towns, the now, your vow, the news, the views, the fight, the night, the light. Anything you like.
Connect!
Connect.
Connect.
Connect. Connect and change. Connecting changes everything. AT&T.
All right, so we're back. Okay, Kathy, can you tell us a little bit about our special guest tonight? I know now he's got the really, really long biography, so let's just get those highlights, okay?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Well, Dale was just telling us backstage that he received an award for 50 years in ghost research. And Dale is the president of ghostresearch.org, Ghost Research Society Press. And he does excursions into the unknown in the area outside of Chicago in Oak Lawn. So, and he's been doing that for a while. And I saw the picture of the caravan, the RV. So how far do you go into this, Dale?
Well, I've been doing the tour since 1982, so a little more than 40 years of doing these tours in Chicago. We pretty much stay in the Chicagoland area. We go into the north side, northwest side, western suburbs, southwest side, and of course the inner city. And the tours usually last about 4 hours in length. We take in about a dozen stops or so in those 4 hours, and we are able to get out the bus, explore some of the places, and give people a real feel for what a haunted location might look like.
Oh,
That's
okay,
awesome.
wonderful.
And so on the
go
tour,
ahead.
exactly what are they seeing?
Well, we see a variety of different things, from cemeteries to historic buildings. They can be restaurants, bowling alleys, places like churches, movie theaters, or just historic places in the city and the suburbs. So people have a chance to kind of explore history, and history and hauntings, I always say, kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I love going to look at the old historic cemeteries. A lot of people have fear of them, but I like to looking at the the names and the dates, years that they died. We actually have one down the street from me when the yellow fever hit in the 1800s in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's just miraculous. I mean, it's just not miraculous, but eerie to see those gravestones and their names and the different types of symbols that appear on the gravestones, or the different styles that they chose at that time for them. We have a question from Doug. He said, Dale, is the show Ghost Hunters legitimate?
Well, I will tell you one little secret, that when the show Ghost Hunters was actually coming out, I was the first person actually contacted to be part of that show. Unfortunately, we didn't come to terms of what I wanted to produce in the show. I wanted it to be more of, rather than reality TV, to be actually, investigating and doing stuff the way paranormal investigators actually investigate.
Yeah, I understand. And sometimes, as tempting as the money might seem, you have to watch what you put your name on. Yeah. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
I totally agree, because I have certain principles and standards and morality, and as broke as I am, if somebody came and offered me $1 million to make a porno movie, I wouldn't do it. I just have to stay broke. Whereas on the other hand, somebody would say, well, let them look at all the flabby cellulite, and for $1 million, I would do it. But I couldn't do that, It's just...
The way I look at it basically is this, my integrity is worth a lot more than money. So right. If they threw tens of millions of dollars, well, I'd have to maybe think about that. But even that, to go into to put, like you say, to put my name on something like that, it would have to be something that I feel legitimate, and also
and very accurate
for what people do in the paranormal today.
I understand. I totally understand. But that's my line that I used from when I was married to my last husband. He was so handsome. He was 6'5" tall and a lot younger than me. And everybody used to ask me, how in the world did your husband fall in love with you? I said, I was at the spa and around the pool, and he saw this cellulite and just fell in love with it. But now I don't have that plump cellulite anymore. It's just kind of flabby cellulite left there. And I'm not looking for a second husband. I'm like a third, fourth, fifth husband anymore. So Doug says, is there a special film that helps pick up images of incarnate energies? And talk about that incarnate energy, since he brought that up.
Sure.
What does that mean, Dale?
Well, I and other researchers believe, and it's been proven by scientists, that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So energies that we have, Einstein said it, Newton's third law of thermodynamics also says it, that our measurable energies in our body that can be measured with equipment, what happens to them when we die? It doesn't obliterate. They stick around, they go someplace else. So when we talk about discarnate entities or ghosts or spirits, we're talking about something that survives after we die. And that's how I got involved in the paranormal to begin with, was not only to prove the existence of ghosts, but to prove the existence of life after death. So if I could prove that there were ghosts definitively, something that survives the death of the body, then we have basically proved that there is life after death. Now, when I was starting out back in the 1970s or so, there was a lot of different types of film that you could purchase that had a better chance of capturing, spirits on film. And it's been written about in one of my books on spirit photography. That infrared film tends to be the film that we have the most success with. Now, unfortunately, I don't know too many people nowadays that shoot film cameras. There may be some people out there. Most people have went to digital technology. But when you use film cameras, infrared film was something that we got a lot of interesting images on. In fact, if people go to my website at ghostresearch.org, they can see a whole bunch of different photographs that we took early on with different types of film, infrared film, what's called Tri-X film, which is a very fast black and white film. And these films are sensitive to areas of the light spectrum that we are unable to see. Infrared, ultraviolet, and in those wavelengths sometimes, maybe that's where spirits reside. Maybe that's where we have the best chance to photograph them, using films that are sensitive to those wavelengths.
Yeah, I can remember the old film where we used to have to go to develop, in the best film used to be Kodak to use in the cameras, And I used to be very particular about the brand. Kodak costs a little bit more, but that brand would also give you better quality of pictures, And I never worked with the infrared because at that particular time, I wasn't into filming, looking for paranormals or spirits. I saw enough of them in real life.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to go looking for any. So do I have the website right? Ghostresearch.com.
No, it's ghostresearch.org, O-R-G.
Org. Okay, let me change that then.
Yeah.
D-H.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Emily's changing that real quick. Just because you're talking about different devices to capture ghosts. Now, are there certain kinds of like spirit boxes and different things? I know you sent me an email once and said that you had various equipment for sale. Are any of those still good, or have you, got more modern technology now, to catch ghosts?
When I was first starting out, there was really nothing as far as paranormal equipment. I started out with a 35 millimeter camera, a cassette tape recorder, and my EMF meter that picks up electromagnetic frequencies was an ordinary compass. So you can see what I used way back then. Now today, we started out trying to adapt certain equipment that had really other purposes to our purpose of trying to track down and identify ghosts that might be around. Now there are people, very bright minds, very bright individuals that are beginning to build and have been building equipment specifically for the express purpose of picking up ghosts, and it has no other purpose than that. People like Bill Chappell from Digital Dowsing, and many, many others have literally, cracked the egg, so to speak, where now we are using equipment that's very high tech, unfortunately kind of expensive too. I mean, some of the equipment I purchased is $1,200, $600. I mean, I have over $16,000 worth of ghost hunting gear right now that we do use. And a lot of it is as Kathy was asking about these spirit boxes. I mean, we have devices today that when we use these devices, when we're trying to do an EVP session, now if people don't understand what that is, it's electronic voice phenomena. It's the idea that we are trying to catch spirit voices using ordinary digital tape recorders. And a lot of people have done that, thousands and thousands of people. But these ghost boxes or spirit boxes or obelisks or things like that, What they do is when you ask a question, in theory, you might get an answer in real time that you can hear with your own ears, and then the tape recorder will also record it. Now, the good thing about that, as opposed to when we used to ask a question, leave some blank space, ask a question, leave some blank space, and then review it later, these devices, if you hear a response in real time, then you can build on that conversation. You can say,
Wow.
what's your name? George. Okay, George, who are you? And then where did you live? And how old are you? And things of that nature. You can continue to build on this conversation because you're hearing it in real time. As before, you would only hear it when you went back home to wherever you came from and listened to the tape recorder with a headset on or earphones.
And you've done that? You've used that and tried that?
Yes. In fact, we have some amazing things that have turned up. Just to give you one quick example, just this last weekend, we were out in Chicago, and actually in Des Plaines, where when Flight 191 crashed in 1979. 271 people died almost instantly, and a couple of people on the ground. Now, we've been there almost every year on the anniversary date, but we wanted to do something a little different and decided to try that it wasn't
for 9/11. For 9/11, yeah.
So basically, we went out there, and we have this device called a novelist, and the novelist has different modes. One of the modes is a dictionary mode, where it has about 4,300 words in there, and the other one is a phonetic mode. So we put it on dictionary mode, and in dictionary mode, you can actually see on the device the word it says. So we turned this device on, and before we even asked a question, the word crash came through.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That knocked my socks off.
Yes. I know it did. Gosh, that's a grasp there.
Later on, we got words that were coming through that were relevant to an airplane. We asked the device, we're asking the spirits actually, and the spirits are trying to manipulate the device for the words to come out. We asked, can you say the word pilot? And it couldn't say that, but it came, two words came back to back and said, good Walter. Well, if you're not familiar with the flight crew, Walter Lutz was the pilot.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You get those types of responses coming through on a real-time device. You can then build on that conversation and try to find out what's going on. In the past, we've used a similar device, and we asked what airline it was. It clearly said American. We asked what flight number it was, and it said 19, and then it stopped, like it was going to say 191. We asked what the pilot name was, and it says Captain Lutz. I mean, when you get these types of responses in real time at a place where so much tragedy has taken place, and we don't want to get likes on Facebook or likes on YouTube, or to be disrespectful to the spirits. We're there to see if the spirits that it might be still lingering have a message they want to get across.
They want to get to somebody, because sometimes they're caught between the parallels and they can't disperse to their destination. You know, some people call it heaven, some call it hell, but wherever their parallel, destined parallel is supposed to be, sometimes they get stuck and they can't go. And it's because they're clinging onto something, what I've understood, I've been told from years past, because growing up, I would see spirits, different people, different all the time. And they used to frighten me when I was younger. And there was something done from a particular culture that my mother had to do that told her about it to help stop me from seeing them. And it worked, because every time I would see them, I would go hysterical and I'd start having seizures. So, and as a child, that's pretty frightening. You see people that when you're this is what happened when by the time I was 8. But by the time when I was a little girl, it didn't bother me because to me I could see it was just another person I was talking to, like 3 or 4 years old, and but they didn't start frightening me until I was 8, till I knew the difference in the real world and the pretend world. So I can understand that there may still be some lingering spirits in a lot of places. Now my mother's house was haunted because her spirit was stuck in the house, and she haunted my stepfather so badly after she passed away that he had to move out the house. He sold the house. It's funny to me because I knew that I knew some of the reasoning for her haunting him. He wasn't a very good man.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the other main reasons, and this is something that a lot of paranormal investigators or paranormal researchers would also agree with, is another reason, and really, I think the main reason that spirits, are picked up around places where they died, or they're kind of like hanging around, for lack of a better term, is because of untimely death. They didn't die a natural death. They died in a crash, a drive-by shooting, a drowning, an accidental death, suicide.
My mother died suddenly. Yeah, but she died at home, but she died suddenly because, she had been sick for the last 2 or 3 days, but she just thought she had indigestion. And, back then, people were used to having indigestion, and we were a culture that didn't have access to going to doctors, but, well, we did, but it wouldn't be on a frequent basis. But my mother actually saw doctors on a frequent basis because she was diabetic. However, she didn't like going. So therefore, she would not attend a lot of her appointments. She was supposed to have been on insulin, but she was afraid of needles. So she wouldn't go on the needle. So therefore, she did have some medical complications. But still, it was quite sudden. She was only 60 years old. So, yeah. And so it was sudden. I went over there. She actually died in my arms. I went over there and I was just getting ready to feed her some chicken soup. And I got one spoonful to put to her mouth, and she just started coughing up just dark blood. Just started coughing it up. So they said it was a massive heart attack. So at that point, the paramedics came. They said they couldn't do anything, and I was in too much shock to even think about CPR. I just didn't know. When I see movies, and I'm like, I understand now how the writers put in movies why people can't do something when it seems so obvious to us on the outside as the audience watching the movie. Why don't they do this? Why don't she do that? Why didn't he do this? And that's what somebody probably would be asking me. Well, why didn't you give us CPR? But you're just in shock. You just freeze and you just can't do anything because it's a sudden. You're not expecting this. I was expecting her to eat soup, So I think you're right. That was another reason why she was probably hanging around too, because she loved that house. She loved that home too.
Well, even Hollywood motion pictures have really gotten, the idea of ghosts to be much more accurate than it was in the past. If you've been to movies and you've seen Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, or The Others with Nicole Kidman, or Bruce Willis in Sixth Sense, any of those motion pictures, all those people that portrayed ghosts in those pictures did not realize that they were dead until later in the film. And then only then they tried to, find their way to the other side, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's funny you brought it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go. For you.
Yeah, I was just finna bring that question to you because when we see the scary movies like The Conjuring, movies like The Exorcist, how close, with all your years of experience, how close to the real thing are they?
Well, the story may be accurate, but not necessarily the way Hollywood portrays it on the big screen. The movie The Exorcist was actually based on a real event that happened in Georgetown, but it happened to a boy and not a girl. Now, in the movie, it was Linda Blair, a girl.
Oh.
It was actually a boy, and part of it was actually also in St. Louis as well. There was a St. Louis connection. The Conjuring and some of those other motion pictures, you can pick up books on the subject and actually read about the actual events, like the movie The Entity, where this lady was actually being sexually assaulted, apparently.
I saw The Entity, yeah.
These are
sometimes I think it was about me and the alien.
What was that?
I said sometimes I think the entity came from me, probably a story when I shared my story about that I thought that I had been molested, actually raped by an alien. But you know, those are true events, and I think that was probably somebody's true story. You know.
Yeah.
Because I experienced that. Yeah.
Can you finish what you were saying at the end, Dale? I didn't hear that.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, the thing I was going to mention is that, you know, like The Entity and even, you know, the Jackie Hernandez case in California, they were all investigated by parapsychologists, which I am not, by the way. I don't have a degree in parapsychology, but parapsychologists from UCLA University. And they went out there to actually investigate the story. They had equipment, they had cameras, they had, you know, what they had at the time, which wasn't a lot, unfortunately, as far as paranormal equipment is today. But they were able to determine what was causing the phenomena. Now, later on in the book, The Exorcist, that was written by, another person that kind of like twisted the story a little bit. And then, of course, Frank DiFolita, who wrote the book on The Entity. Now, the book is more accurate than the movie, and they usually is, because the movie, they got to shock you. They got to scare you in the movie theater. So some of the stuff they put in the movie is not necessarily accurate, but the actual story, the storyline in the books is usually pretty accurate, if not totally accurate.
Okay. When it comes to your investigation, hold
on, Tim. Got to get a question in with our audience. Douglas says, hold that thought, though. I'm coming right back to you. Douglas says his cat sees things sometimes that he doesn't see, but he have experienced things moving in his presence in other rooms, and he have scary ghost stories, funny and incredible. Well, my dog does the same thing. Do you think yourself, Dale, that animals can actually see a dimension other than what we see, or maybe two dimensions?
I do, because animals, for instance, a dog can hear a dog whistle, which is ultrasonic sound. We can't hear that, but the dog hears a tone.
Right.
A dog can track a person miles by scent alone. We can't.
That's true. That's true.
The dog can actually see, and even cats can see, kind of in the infrared spectrum. They have almost this night vision capability, and they may even have their own innate sixth sense. So when you see your cat or dog kind of reacting a bit unusually in a home or something like that, it's usually a signal that perhaps the cat or dog is actually sensing something that they actually see in the environment at the time. And so in lieu of having, say, a medium or a psychic or something like that, you can bring a dog or a cat into a house that's allegedly haunted, and they'll let you know right away. In some cases, they won't even go into the room. We were
some cases they won't even go in.
Illinois.
That sounds like my dog.
Showed up on the television series Sightings, and she had a cat, Sebastian, and this cat constantly was looking over his head, seeing something that nobody saw. The cat had a litter box in the bathroom. Went in there to use the litter box, and as I'm watching this cat, This cat jumped straight up in the air, like 3 feet off the ground, and runs out of that bathroom. I tried to pick up that cat and put that cat back in that bathroom, and I got scratched up galore. That cat saw something or sensed something and would not go back in there.
Look, you know what? I've had cats before in my life too, and I've seen them do the same thing. That's why I'm laughing so hard, because I know you're telling the truth. But my dog is scary too. My dog is so scared of thunder and lightning. She runs up under the bed every time it starts thunder and lightning, and look at me like I'm supposed to protect her.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So
Let's take a break.
Oh,
Go
go
back to you. I said I'll go back to you, and then I'm going to take a break. You
Okay.
asking him something about during his investigations. I remember that part.
Yeah, well, actually, he can answer when we come back. But the question is, with your 50 years of experience, what place had the most activity that you've ever experienced, ranking it number one out of your whole experience? And you can answer that when we come back.
Okay, that's a great question to come back on. And then, Doug, I see your scary story that you want to share. We'll get it on the screen too when we come back, okay? But let's let our guests take a break and get some water, because I sure need some, all right? All right, you guys, look, don't go away. We will be right back.
This is Cassie. She never really paid attention to her credit scores until she got Credit Karma and used her scores to score more, like her first ride. When it was time to upgrade, she shopped around for a lower auto insurance rate to go with it. Even when she decided to blaze a new trail, Credit Karma helped her with an auto loan to get her where she was going. But where is she going? Credit Karma. Download the free money app where your hard work pays off.
Oof, gotta get rid of this.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks.
Have you tried new Downy Rinse and Refresh?
It helps remove odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
It worked, guys.
Yeah.
New Downy Rinse and Refresh.
Introducing IHG One Rewards. 17 hotel brands, 6,000 global destinations. One loyalty program that lets you guest how you guest.
Victor, why are you still living with odors? Get back in there and freshen instantly with new Febreze Air Mist. That's right, Febreze now has a new, finer mist that floats in the air longer and quickly fills the room to fight even your toughest odors. Leftover fried fish funk? Instant freshness. Gaming teen odors? Instant freshness. Spray new Febreze Air Mist to keep your home smelling fresh and clean.
Okay, we are back. All right, Dale. Tim's question was, what place have you been where you saw the most ghost activity?
Well, it's really kind of hard to say my number one, but I'll give you 2 number ones really quick. Gettysburg, good. Pennsylvania, the Battle of Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863. I've been back there about 8 times. We're going back there again next year. We have actually heard cannon fire, musket fire. We've actually been in contact with spirits that I believe died on the battlefield. We asked the question using one of these ghost boxes. What happened to you? He said, I died. And I said, well, how did you die? Did you get shot? Where? He goes, I got shot in the eye. I mean, these were actual communications we had with spirits out there. And there are so many places on the battlefield. 51,000 people died in 3 days. There were 51,000 in 3 days. Now, the other one that I think is just as maybe as haunted, if you will, is a place I investigated in Tennessee called Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. It's almost near the Alabama border or something. It's way down south. And
I'm in Tennessee.
Numerous times to investigate. In fact, at one time you were actually able to sleep in the patient's rooms.
Oh, really?
We did on several occasions, and it was a unique experience. We were hearing footsteps coming down the hallway in the middle of the night. We heard screaming coming down the hallway from apparently where the old maternity ward used to be. And obviously, a woman gives birth to a baby. Sometimes she screams.
Yeah.
So we came back a year later, and we were in the exact same location. And one of our investigators said, we were here last year and we heard a woman screaming. Can you tell us who that was? And immediately the voice comes through and says, probably was Florence. So, I mean, we heard all different types of disembodied noises. We had doors open against door jams. We had door jams pressed up underneath these heavy doors in the dark. And suddenly one of my investigators is being pushed by this door, this heavy.
Ooh, that's scary.
And really she jumped up and she goes, whoa, what's going on here?
Did y'all film it too?
I'm sorry?
Would you film it also? Would you film this? Do you film this when this is happening?
I can say you actually, sometimes you do. Sometimes you will get kind of like a static charge on your body. Sometimes your hair will stand up on your arms.
No. I'm sorry. I have a funny way of talking. Did you film FILM?
Yeah, we were actually, we had a camera set up in that hallway when we were doing it. Unfortunately, as most cameras are sometimes, it faced the wrong direction. But it still caught the audio of our investigators going, whoa, 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 this thing's pushing against me, and this big door slammed. So, yeah, I mean, in some cases, we were able to capture what I would call full-bodied apparitions that look just like you or I, except you can see through them.
Oh, wow. That is something else. Wow. Kind of like in my pre-opening video, the people coming down the stairs. Yeah. Well, how many of you guys are usually on a team when you go on these excursions?
What are they using? What? I'm sorry.
How many of you are there when you go?
It varies depending on the size of the location. We've investigated everything from like a mobile home to a building that had 256,000 square feet. So literally, it depends on the size of the venue. If it's a very, very large building, we'd like to bring in more people because we can cover the area better. If it's a smaller area, then we bring in a smaller group.
Has anyone ever gotten hurt by a ghost?
In my team, no. And in fact, even in the written literature, and I got in a very extensive library. Actually, I'm in my basement right now, but just over in the next room is my office. And even in all the literature that I have read, I have never yet heard anybody been harmed by a ghost. Now, there can be perhaps other things that maybe not so nice. They may be a bit nastier. Some people might call them demons. Some might call them something like that.
Yeah.
But demons, in all the time I've been doing this, I've never come across anything demonic. And I think it has a lot to do with how we screen our cases. When we talk to people, we can get a feel, at least I can get a feel from doing it so long. I've investigated almost 4,000 cases.
Oh my God, that is a lot.
And I can get a feel from just somebody talking to me on the phone what's going on. And if I think it's anything very negative, well, why would I want to bring my team into some place that's very negative?
Right, that's absolutely right.
All the people there that you might need to reach out to the clergy, to a priest, to a minister, or even a demonologist. Somebody has more experience in dealing with that than
in the location, right? I don't blame you. Well, Doug, we promised you we'd get your two. He has two very long comments, but I'm going to put them up here. The first one, he says that his scariest story is an 8-year-old boy spirit crying in the next room who was drowned by his mom over 100 years ago in Bahia, Mississippi. his mom was in the room scolding him with a hideous voice. Wow, Doug, that is weird. Then he has another story. He says, in Eagle's Nest, New Mexico, it got so creepy, I hitchhiked out and a witch picked me up and took me to the bus station after I spent the night with her. I played with her kids, got hurt, so she spared me from her plans. Yeah. One is scary and one
All
is
right.
scary.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The last one is funny.
So he really ran into a witchy woman then. A witchy woman. Like
Well, it sounds like.
So how did you know she was a witch, man? That's my question. Did she tell you? Can you type in how you knew for us? Okay.
Yeah.
So Tim, have you ever seen a ghost?
Question. When he kind of said like this was like 100 years ago. I mean, there are places. I just came back from 3 weeks in England and Scotland. I was there for 3 weeks, and I toured all over the country. We went like to Loch Ness to see the Loch Ness monster.
Oh, Loch Ness,
everywhere. And you got to remember, places here in the United States don't have the history that England does. I mean, England.
That's true.
I went to Hadrian's Wall, and Hadrian's Wall was built in 224 A.D.
I know about Hadrian's Wall, yeah.
So there's nothing here in the United States even close to that. I mean, you're talking about maybe the middle 16th, 17th century, like 1620 in Jamestown, and maybe the Vikings go earlier, but nothing anywhere associated with the length of time in England. So you can come across, literally,
or Africa, or Africa, like Egypt,
is 200 years old, literally, very easily.
I know in England, yeah, and the Vikings were very spiritual with their beliefs about Valhalla. They believe that if they did certain things or lived a certain way, that they wouldn't get to go to Valhalla. The gods wouldn't let them come into Valhalla, and that their spirits would remain on the rest of the earth. And so, yeah, I think there are a lot of Vikings there, probably as well as a lot of Christian monks as well that passed away, because they had a lot of priests always during that time. And then you had the Crusades, the knights and things. I know England is a fascinating country for not only spirits and ghosts, but also aliens and UFOs too, because the country was so vast. Germany is another country that the aliens were big on, where you find a lot of alien and mixtures of creatures and humans. Yeah. Like, you remember the Grimm story, fairy tales, Dale, that came from Germany?
Yeah.
Yeah, those, they say that those actually true stories. They wasn't just really tales, And so I don't know. So, but there is, I'm watching. How big are you on the space stories, Dale, like Stargate and Star Trek? And do you have any belief about those?
Well, I'm a big Trekkie fan.
Hey, me too.
But
me too.
I'm kind of interested really in all things paranormal. I mean, I have an interest in UFOs and aliens and Bigfoot and lake monsters, but really my forte, what I really get involved with mostly is ghosts, haunting, and poltergeist phenomena. But anything paranormal, I'm interested in. Literally.
Yeah. Now, poltergeist, I'm not. I don't really care too much for poltergeist, because most of them, well, the majority, I think, why they call them poltergeist. What does that word actually mean? I think the poltergeist means mean-spirited, doesn't it?
It's actually from the German word, which means a noisy ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Something mean, noisy. Yeah. Noisy ghost,
And most parapsychologists now believe that a poltergeist is not caused by a ghost. It's actually caused by an adolescent going through puberty that has pent-up emotions within themselves, and it's like overcharging a battery. Eventually, it's going to discharge in a paranormal way with the movements of objects, flying objects, just like the movie Carrie with Sissy Spacek, if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Everybody remember Carrie.
But she was causing these things to fly around. And then she later, read some books on it, and she said, well, hey, it's telekinesis is what it's called. Mind over matter.
Yeah, that could be, Doug said he has a native burial ground story. He says, native burial grounds are sacred for thousands of years. I got a Lakota Sioux reservation story. I got my life saved by medicine men as blue lights. Yes, Sasquatch is real, amazing, and terrifying. Dale?
Yeah, I can say that too. Sasquatch. I had an encounter with some people.
You did?
Really?
Tell us about it.
In Boynton Canyon, Sedona. Yeah, where I lived in Sedona, and we were told. Well, we were told that there's there's a mountain range there that opens up. UFOs come in and out and stuff, and they're guarded. And there's a certain family that owns a lot of land, and I can't remember the name of them right now, but they've had a lot of encounters with UFOs, aliens, etc. So we decided. My friend, her name is Tanya Maddenford, and she's an independent filmmaker. Her dad was a CIA agent, and she writes science fiction movies about Mars and stuff. But she came to visit me. She came to visit me. So she said, we're going to have to hike out in the dark with just our flashlights, right? So that's what we did. And we brought one other person with us, a guy, but he didn't really come in handy when it came to the Sasquatch. But we ended up walking for miles and miles. And we didn't hear anything, but then we decided to turn around and go back. And as we were turned to go back, all our flashlights shut off at the same time. And we couldn't turn them on. And we heard this howl, shrieky howl, like it was like, not of this world almost. It was so powerful. And so we started running. We had no lights, so we were worried.
Yeah,
but then we didn't trip.
You did the right thing. I'm glad you didn't go try to be one of those dummies and go and investigate. When I see those movies, I'm like, why are they not running? Why they want to go see what it is? Curiosity kills the cat, right there.
Well, I have a theory on Bigfoot and what we call cryptids, which are like, dog men and when dingoes and black-eyed children and all these weird cryptids that sometimes people will see. I believe, and it goes right along with your title of your podcast here. I believe these are denizens from parallel universes that literally come sometimes into our universe, and that's why we never find the Bigfoot body. We never find a carcass.
Right.
It's like they pick up their own dead and they carry them off through these what I call portals.
Portals. Yes. Yes.
Altered state of consciousness, another dimension, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And I think even some of that will explain some of these UFO sightings, believe it or not. I did a presentation a couple of years ago called Portal Hauntings, places where not only, for instance, in 1942, in right around Detroit, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit, Michigan, actually, there was a rash of UFO sightings. And not only that, at the same time that was taking place, the newspaper said that people were experiencing hauntings, ghosts, poltergeist activity, strange lights, and really kind of like cryptid type creatures. This went on for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then suddenly it stopped. Everything stopped at the same time. Like that door opened again, and they all went through. the door closed behind them. And I think that's what happens a lot of times. And even in cases of haunting, sometimes haunting can go on for years or decades or centuries, and then suddenly they just stop.
Yeah. I definitely believe in portals. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Trekkie fan too. And people just don't know we do have I think there's portals all over the world.
Yeah.
And
long and prosper.
I can't do it. I never could learn how to do it.
I take my fingers to do that, unfortunately.
I never could. I used to try to do it as a teenager, and I couldn't do it as a teenager. I couldn't do it as an adult.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, I guess I'd have to get. I never could get it. I never could get that close. I couldn't get my fingers to go there. Oh, wait a minute. And you when you think you got it, but then it spreads apart. So you think you got it, but then the little one won't come over. I can't get it over.
Or even like when Spock used to raise one eyebrow and not the other.
I can do that.
I go, how do you raise one eyebrow and not the other?
Just like this.
He was multi-talented.
Oh, you can do it. I can't. I tried.
It's like in my movie. It's so good. Cathy, you watched my movie. Did you see my Spock eyebrow rise when the lady first comes to see me? Did you see it? I used it in my movie.
That's great.
Well, I think that's a very good note for us to close the show on. Tim,
yes.
I'm gonna get to well, no, let's do our guests first.
Yes.
I want to thank Dale so much for coming on. You're a joy. We got to have you back really soon, Cathy. I want him back. We can talk about this some more. But Dale, your closing remarks to the audience.
Well, I would like to just tell people that, if people do come across a ghost or something that they don't understand, the first thing to remember is not to be frightened, because ghosts, in my opinion, don't harm you. They're usually here because they're trying to attract your attention to their situation, because they're kind of earthbound. They can't cross over, if you will. And so just take very good notes, kind of keep a diary of events of taking place. And if you do contact somebody like myself or some other paranormal team, then you'll have something to show them how this haunting started and progressed to where it is today. And very often there are patterns involved with that. But people can go to my website. I do, real quickly, I want to flash a couple of my books here. Windy City Ghost 2, and one on spook lights called Illuminating the Darkness, The Mystery of Spook Lights. There it is.
Yeah.
Right. But I've written 6 books that you can actually find on my website. You can go to my website and also find our investigations we've done, all the evidence that I talked about, plus a ton more on ghostresearch.org.
Okay, that is so awesome. Let's give Dave a round of applause, everybody. We thank him so much. And then we're going to go to our team and have our team to give their closing comments. Tim, we'll start with you. You're at the top with Dale.
Okay. Yeah, Dale, man, thanks a lot for coming through. I mean, great information. Can't wait to have you back again. And outstanding show. Thanks a lot, man.
I appreciate you inviting me on. Had a great time.
Cathy.
Okay. Yeah, Dale, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now, I just want to say real quickly that Dale, you can also find him on imdb.com, because he's done Ghost Lab series 2009, I Hunt Ghosts 2010, and a few others. But he does have a Ghost Fest coming up where he's going to be a spokesperson for that. And it's a Midwest type conference, right? Can you just say a little bit about that, Dale?
Sure. It's the Midwest Spirit Fest. It's going to be Sunday, October 8th at the Thornton Distillery in Thornton, Illinois. We're going to have psychics. We're going to have speakers, vendors, and we are having people, allowing people to investigate the haunted underground artesian well.
And that's in Illinois?
It's in Illinois. It's Thornton, Illinois. People can find that if they go to my Facebook page, and they can find me on Facebook. or they can go to my website, ghostresearch.org. There's a banner that you can click on. It'll tell you all about it. We're adding more and more speakers as we approach, and we're going to be doing some updates on that page here probably on the next couple of days. But it's only it's $10 in advance, $15 at the door. It's free if you want to just come in and browse the vendors and to get a psychic reading or something like that. But if you want to see the speakers, we just ask if you pay $10 or $15 for the. We're going to have about 12 speakers, I believe, for the whole day.
And are you also going to have this, share this online? Can people participate online?
No, we don't have anything online, unfortunately. But again, it's free that people want to come in. I know that some people are from out of state and so forth.
Yeah, that do come. Yeah.
We might be doing some live Facebooks, broadcasts throughout the day. And we're going to be videotaping a couple of the speakers with their permission, of course, and then we might, be able to post their lectures. On people can actually see them later on.
Cool. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So I really do thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And our show, my show is not a new show. I started it up, I would say, a couple of years ago, and I only did like 3 or 4 episodes because I got really busy with some other tasks and assignments, and then I just left it there. And somehow or another, on our Friday night show, we got to talking about ghosts. Tim brought it up. Tim, he started the whole thing. I said, you know what? I said, yeah. I said, I already got a paranormals page, so let's just go start the show back up again. And so this is great. And it's going to take us some time to build our viewership up because when I left it, it was in the middle of just beginning to grow. And, people have picked interest, but this is the perfect time to pull it back because to bring it back up. And because as a matter of fact, I pulled up this article. I saw it this morning. It says a researcher shows purported non-human beings at the UFO hearing that they had. And these are military veterans who alleged that the government cover-ups of UFOs, and they did this during the congressional hearing that they just had. Yeah. And this is from CBS News. So you guys go ahead and research that. Let's see, when did they have this? It was on Tuesday.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, Tuesday, yesterday. This was the country's first public congressional hearing on the topic. And so they was this, and let's see, I'm trying to say, researcher, okay, I'm just going to show the heading so y'all can see the heading. And then you'll know what to look for, because with me trying to say all of this, y'all might not understand my words so clearly because I do call. Then I just hit share. Okay, yeah, I did, but I didn't hit the. Oh, they asked me something. Okay, yeah, I know. Okay, it tells me about. It always asks me a question before I try to share a screen. A screen.
Yeah, we can see it now.
You can see it now.
Yeah.
Researcher. You can?
Yeah.
Great. Researcher shows purported non-human beings at UFO hearing. Okay, y'all got that?
Yep.
All right, that's what y'all look for, and it's from CBS News. Okay. All right, great. Now we'll stop sharing. Bring us back. Okay, great. So yeah, go ahead and read that for yourselves because I'm gonna read it myself. I just was so busy today working on other stuff too. And Doug says, "Thanks so much, Dale, for coming back. He's the one telling all this, sharing his stories with us tonight. And there will be others that watched later on. We always have our viewers that come and watch. They watch when they get to work on their work. Watch our shows at work. I shouldn't be saying that, but they do. But I'll send the direct link to Kathy, and she can forward that direct link over to you, where that you can check the stats, the stats like tomorrow night, and then maybe the following day, and you can see how they add up a bit. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. So,
Thank
Kathy, I'm gonna
Thank
let
you.
I'm not gonna close it with me and my comments. Kathy, I'm gonna let you thank Dale one more time, and then we're gonna get out of here. Okay?
Well, I thank you, Dale, and maybe we can have you back before you or after you do your documentary on PBS that you're going to be doing in the springtime. So thank you so much for being our special guest, our first official.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And if you have these shows coming up, please share them with Kathy, and I'll share them on my Facebook, and we'll get the word out.
Please do. Thank you so much. And thank you again. Audience, thank you too, because I know they learned a lot of information. All right, that's our time, y'all. We will be back tomorrow night with Pearl's Politics. Wow, have we got a lot to talk about on Pearl's Politics, so y'all know y'all don't want to miss that. All right, we'll be back. That's our
We're gone.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.